Welcome to a study of the Holy Scriptures from the creation of the angels to the New Jerusalem, the Book of Enoch and the Watchers Explained. Sponsored by Harmony House of Deliverance Ministries Incorporated. I'm your host, Bishop Leonard Ledoux. I'm the pastor of Harmony House. Today we're going to get into a little bit of a book that was taken out that should have been part of the 66 or more books in the Bible, is the Book of Enoch. And in his book, it goes into the angelology piece of Enoch and the Watchers. Now, we're going to discuss some things here that you may not have heard of before, but we're going to bring it in because it should be known that this should have been part of our learning of the Bible. The Watchers. Now, some of you may have heard of them and may wonder what they are, but we're going to explain here in a second what the Watchers are and how they fit into the story and who Enoch is, because some of you may not know. But the Book of Enoch is one of those books that almost made it into the Bible, but was then rejected. Even though Enoch in the book itself was mentioned and referred to several times in the Holy Bible, the only person who accepts this book as an official part of their Holy Scriptures are the Ethiopian Jews and the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, and a few more obscure religious groups around the world. Official sources say the book was written 300 BC, but since it's inscribed to Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, some speculate that it was written before the Great Flood. Who are the Watchers? According to the Book of Enoch, the Watchers were angels stationed on earth by Elohim, God, to watch over the people like sentinels. In that time, before the flood, some of them became attracted to the human woman they saw and abandoned their angelic form to become human so they could marry these women and live among men. These angels were led by the archangel Simjaya and Arzimza. The Watchers came to earth on Mount Hermon. And the first part of the book is all about the Watchers, as I said, a group of angels who came here, and it was 200 of them that were supposed to be dispatched down to watch the humans and keep them from getting in trouble. But they ended up getting in trouble with them because the women were so fair that they wanted to be in their lives. And what came out of their creation of babies, that they had children, were the Nephilim, who we're going to discuss here in a few minutes. They were giants and savages that endangered and pillaged the world. In the days of Jared, as you can see here, the Watchers desired women, and they wanted to be with these women because they were beautiful. And it was like 10 of the chief archangels at the time that was dispatched to go down to take care of this. They all got together and decided that they wanted to create this great sin where they got together with these women because they were beautiful and had sex with them. And they had a summit on Mount Hermon where all this kind of took place, where they decided to do it. They took their wives, choosing one, and they began to have sex with them, defiling themselves with them. They taught them charms, enchantments, and how to cut roots and acquire them with plants. The women became pregnant and bore giants, and they were 45 feet tall. They were very tall. This began to sin against birds, reptiles, fish. In other words, they started eating animals because before this time, everybody was vegetarian. Of course, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel, those four archangels, did not like it, so they went to Yahweh and said they should get rid of them. The Nephilim. Now it came about when men began to multiply on the face of the land, daughters were born of them. These are the creatures that came out, or the offspring of the angels and the women. They were big, gigantic giants, half man, half angel, and they were just creating havoc all over the earth. So this was one of the things, a prerequisite that led to the flood. In Numbers 13, 30 through 33, Caleb explains to Moses what the Nephilim are as they talk about the Nephilim. And the land that they had before, there were some giants there. Genesis 6 and Numbers 13, again, pre-flood and post-flood talk about the Nephilim, that term, because they were there. And that's the reason why I don't understand why this book was left out of the sequence. It should have been there so we know about these creatures. Some believe they were aliens. There's some that people believe that they were aliens. Of course, I don't believe that. I believe they were part of the species of the angel and woman. Then there's other views. When they said Adam's son Seth that these Nephilim came from his lineage, which I wouldn't believe because Seth was the good brother that came after the Cain and Abel murder. So why would Seth's offspring be giants and be these Nephilim? Doesn't make sense to me at all. But that's a view that's out there. Some people just have their own ways of what they want to do. And then there's another way that said that the Nephilim, of course, were giants, and they were limited to, like I said, with the angels. But Goliath was a giant and was not considered a Nephilim. As mentioned, the term is unclear on how they came up with that. But in the Latin exchange of the book, that was translated by Saint Jerome, he put these giants in the book and said that they were the fall, the verb the fall. Here's the four on this table explains the popular views that were discussed. As you can see, you're looking at that. Me, I believe the angelic view. I believe that the angels came in because the women were fair and they wanted to have them for themselves. Because, it's just God's creation of women are beautiful. And again, the fallen angel theory, it can be interpreted in Job 1:6, 2:1, and 38:7. And the fact that the Nephilim were indeed half human, half fallen angel, then it would give great understanding to the many ancient religious views about Babel and demigods. In 2 Peter 2:1-11, the apostle wrote there that about false prophets among them, and saying that false teachers teach different things. So we have to be kind of careful. For God did not spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell and committed them to pits of darkness reserved for judgment, and did not spare the ancient world, but preserved Noah, a preacher of righteousness, with 7 others, whom he brought the flood upon the world, the ungodly. And if he condemned the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah to destruction by reducing them to ashes, having made them an example to those who would live ungodly lives therefore after. If he rescued righteous Lot, and it goes on about the view here. Why did he take them out? Here it continues with the Most High and the Holy Great One spoke to Uriel, and he told him to tell Noah that he was going to come down and destroy the earth, and that Noah need to hide himself so that he wouldn't get caught up in that. And that's how the theory of the flood began. The Watchers, again, are mentioned in the book of Jubilee, which is another book that was left out of the Holy Bible that should be read as well. And the Watchers, yes, they did wrong. It was 10 of the archangels that were involved. 10. So, Lucifer wasn't the only angel that seemed to have had issues with being in authority. It seems that these other angels, Sin, Jaza, and the rest of them, just wanted to get involved and do some things that was out of the will of God. So, and the Watchers did what else they did. They, we know that Azizan taught men to make swords, knives, swords, shields, breastplates, and showed them the metals of the earth. They began to show them how to do a lot of things. Ezekiel, he gave them the knowledge of the clouds, so they knew about weather, the signs of the earth. They all knew about astrology now. These angels came down and taught them all these things that man was not supposed to have yet. And Michael, Uriel, Raphael, Gabriel told Yahweh, we need to stop this. So this is what was done. The Watchers had to be stopped. And Enoch was dispatched to go and give the information to them to tell them that they were going to be destroyed before the angels, before that even happened. So it's interesting that this stuff was left out on purpose so that we wouldn't know it. So the earth went through a sort of baptism. When Noah and his wife and family, and all 2 of each animal was put into the boat, which the boat was built by the Watchers so that they could get redemption. They helped make this ark, and of course Noah got into the ark and he went on, and the earth was destroyed by water. And that was just a sort of baptism so that the earth can be cleansed. And then afterwards, the binding of Simjaza and his associates all had to be taken in, had to be taken to court. They were bound by Michael, and they were taken up before God and judged. And there is a place that these angels and the fallen angels will go to be judged on the day of judgment. And it's explained in the book of Enoch where that is. We're going to talk about that in the next segment. But the book of Enoch, of course, goes into the mission of what Enoch had to do. He had to go as a scribe and go to them, to these angels, and tell them that they were wrong. A man had to go and tell angelic spirits that they were wrong what they'd done. He was chosen to do that because these angels stooped to the level of man. So they felt a man had to be the one to tell them of their unrighteousness. So Enoch did just that. He went down and he told them as he fell asleep. It was like he was in a dream and visions. And he came upon them and told them what thus they did wrong and how they were going to be punished. So Enoch is a very powerful person that was used by God because he loved God. And this, him and Ezekiel both were translated and have to come back to the earth to die. So the book of Enoch, a very powerful book that should have been part of the Bible. And I suggest if you don't have it, you should get it and read it so that you can get an understanding of how the clouds and everything was done, basically how weather begins, how the 4 seasons begin, how the earth and the stars and the moon and all that plays a factor in how the earth is moving. It also shows that purgatory does exist, but not in the way that Catholicism or the Muslim religion portrays it to be. Here's a chart showing you what happens up until the flood, what was going on, how corrupt the world was, the wickedness of the world, and the seed of the righteous preserved, that being of Noah and his family. So we thank you so much for that. We wanted you to understand a little bit about this. So next we'll be covering the following, next time with the book of Enoch again. We're going to go into the different phases of hell, which is in Tartarus. We're going to see that. Thank you all for joining us. And if you want more, just feel free to contact us at Harmony House of Deliverance. We'll be happy to help you be able to get whatever you need, understanding that you may not know, so that you can understand everything that God has for you. Thanks again. Goodbye.